Welcome to Black Spring on your Saturday. And today we have a few things going on, but today the title of the presentation is Just a Bill. And I want to go into that just a little bit. We'll have some specifics on that. I'll give you a little bit of landscaping. I'll plant a few seeds for that. And how about this? We'll start it off right now. Let me just warm you up to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
You sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." And he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will. But today I am still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By
old.
that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill. He signed your bill, now you're a law. Oh, yes.
All right. I'd like to thank everybody, as always, for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope everybody's doing well on your Saturday. Now, can you imagine how it feels to be a bill? Well, I know I can think about, when we think about a bill, we can think of a couple of bills. And for one, this particular bill that I would like to get into today will include the bill that Speaker Pelosi has referred to of, what can we say? She called it of Rooseveltian proportions. Here on Black Spring, I call that alphabet soup programs, government programs, mass government expansion, fiscal irresponsibility, not a whole lot about the people, like maybe 20% for the people, but mostly not so much, more pork than anything. So once again, thanks everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. If you're just coming in, I'd like to shout you out. Thank you for coming in. And there is one particular bill from our 116th Congress. And I'll give you just a little bit. It's from the House of Representatives. Got a couple of co-signers here, the co-contributors. We've got some of our usual suspects, so I'll bring them right on up. Not to worry, not to worry. I will bring them up for you to see who's co-signing where, per usual. Okay, so let's go on over to the bill, All right, so this particular bill, the top is entitled Making Emergency Supplemental Appropriations for the Fiscal Year Ending September 30th, 2020, and for other purposes. In the House of Representatives, we have co-signing on this bill Mrs. Lowy for herself, Mr. Engel, Mrs. Carolyn B. Maloney of New York, Mr. Nadler, Mr. Ballone, Mr. Scott of Virginia, Mr. Takano, Miss Velasquez, and Miss Waters introduced the following bill, which was referred to the committee a bill. All right, so I just want to say just right away, this is a massive bill, as they tend to be. This bill, it's over 1,800 pages long. Typical mass. 1815 is what I'm looking at here. Of course, I'll be placing these links. I'll place them actually here in the stream. If you like to follow along, you might do so at your leisure. If you want to even save it for later, come back and read and carry on, come back at another time and read on. But for now, I'm just going to just a little bit here. I'm going to bounce around a little bit because the bill is so massive. I did not get through the entire bill, 1,815 pages. So of course we have quite a few problem solutions here. But for one, I think the very first part, and of course you've got your titles and your divisions of the bill here. And I go over the anatomy of the way the bills are, constructed here. You can do that at your leisure. But we start off Division Pandemic Recovery Supplemental Appropriations Act. So here in this stream, I will be referring to this as the pandemic, or he'll be referred to it as crowd disease or something of that nature. A lot of aliases we can do. I've heard a lot of different demics, but for starters, of course, you can see. So the average American might be thinking of course, as they want to call it, putting food on the table, those kinds of needs, farm bills, even, of course, I've heard Speaker Pelosi mention SNAP and all these programs, which, of course, this is, to me, padding. It's adding to the expansion and just more appropriations, and with little or no regard for the deficit. And of course, most of these appropriations are going to be appropriated as projected. But for one, I'll go on here. So I do see, starting off, you have a section that talks about domestic food programs, food and nutrition. Okay. I think you could probably live with that. So you can dig into that. That's a child nutrition program, but I think it's I'm not sure if that's some of those programs like WIC and SNAP. You actually have some people that have been on those programs for years. I don't know I'm not exactly sure how much of this money is actually going to be appropriated for that. If it will go as follows. So have people in food lines, food banks. Okay, but this is not what I'm looking at. Okay, I'm not talking about basic needs. I'm not talking about general welfare kinds of things specific to the people. Is not what I'm not getting a side eye, giving a side eye for any of that. So let's just be as clear as I can be on that. But I'm finding things, more social protections, and I'm finding, for example, what is this? National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, assistance to fishery participants. Keep going here. There's actually, it's more of a domestic kind of, some domestic things in here. There's appropriations for Department of Justice, federal prison systems. I'm not, listen, it won't be as painful as you think. I won't go through this entire bill. But number 13 here, as you can see, State and Local Law Enforcement Activities Office on Violence Against Women, Violence Against Women Prevention and Prosecution Programs. All that to $100 million to remain available until expended. And then, of course, there's other grants in here. It's like, it's pretty much a wish list. Science, National Science Foundation, research and related activities. I'm not sure exactly which science and who scientist are they using. Related agencies, legal service corporations, financial service and general government, Department of the Treasury. So I'll go on. There's some specific ones, but here you can do this for yourself. But like number 11, I can go into page 1103. This is jumping around quite a bit. There's homeless assistance grants. Now these are all issues, of course, that were these are pre-pandemic existing funds, problems that needed solutions. So all of a sudden there's going to be funding or additional funding for homeless. And of course in California, we know what the homeless situation looks like, and especially in San Francisco. So I'm just going to keep going. That's 1103. That's we're going to 1103 right now. But that is the expansion of Fuse of minority banks, minority credit unions. So that's where I'm going right now. So during the pandemic, we're concerned about the use of minority banks and minority credit unions. So I'm just giving you a little sample of what I'm seeing in this. Which the bill, of course, I would imagine it has some ways to go. And of course the media, they drip out pieces, and they preview things that are, half truths or whatever, half developments, kind of keeping people dumbed down that are not going to bother to look at it. You just have some people that just refuse. They refuse to take a look at anything. So also there is on page 1092, this is pretty massive, so I'm just going to hit only a couple of points. 1092 is empowering community financial institutions. There's just like so much stuff in here. Just digging through it. This is what you gotta have a strong stomach to sit through this thing. So this is your the 1092. Title 7, empowering community financial institutions. Is this the time? Does that sound pretty urgent to you? or what's behind it. You know, like we want to see we got the shadow bills. We'll see what comes out of it. Okay, so these are development. It says there is authorized to be appropriated to the Community Development Financial Institutions Fund out of amounts in the general fund not otherwise appropriated. So here again, this is just an example. I'm just the projects here. I don't know what you think. Of course, you can take a look at this at your own leisure. But I want to go back to 1103. These are the kinds of injections that are coming with making a fairer world during a pandemic. You're going to make the government's going to make everything just the way it's going to predict equal outcomes and everything you can imagine. Okay, so it's kind of in the middle. These pages are just legalese. It's hard to dig through this online, but I just thought, let's just look at it for a second. I was curious, there's other bills. There's a ton of bills according to the speaker. They're just sitting there, they're a holding pattern. Okay, so this one, I was looking at 1103. Just go back. Just looking at all the social programs, social protections, and social advancements, and all these things that are projected by people that are vicariously living by a people that they have marginalized for decades. Just for kicks, let's see who's around. I thank everybody per usual for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Hope everybody's doing well as always. Let me just see who's here right now. I don't mean to be unattentive. Hi, Monet Nakon. How are you? I know this is pretty intense, but I don't do this very often. But every now and then, let's have a look. Have a look at just a bill. Okay? How are you doing? Shout out to Monet Nakon. How are you? If you could hit the like button or bell or whatever you have, whatever speaks to you, would be helpful on this Just a Bill Saturday. It's a nice little ring, ring in the stream with I'm Just a Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, that comes from Schoolhouse Rock. There was a time where music, they used music to teach civics. I don't know if they do that anymore, but I thought I might play that for you guys. But yeah, just shout out to anybody that's in the stream. It's always nice to have you. So here again, let me just go back to what I was saying. Okay. Shout out to you, Monet Nakon. Thank you for coming in. So we're just taking a look at the bill. We're going to look at another bill, a bill that you might be more familiar with. Let's see. Okay. So let's just go back into the pile. Let's go back into the dog pile, if you don't mind. Let's see. I have a couple of shout outs I would like to do while I am digging through this pile. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Chrysler is pretty loyal, is a great content creator, and very supportive on Black Spring with Autumn. So if you want to get a chance, you might hop on over to Chrysler's page and see what's going on. Have a look around. It's Saturday, You can virtually look around and see if you like, if you're interested in what you see. So I'm going to be dropping Chrysler's link. Thank you so much, Chrysler Imperial H. Also, I'm also going to be dropping another content creator who is very loyal and very great. He's a good content creator. He's very firm with his content, and he has changed his name to the Definition of Anarchy, aka Snapzilla Gorilla. It's formerly Snapzilla Gorilla, so I will be placing his link in the box as well. Just taking a little bit of time here to shout out my team. And also, just FYI, I will be rolling out a membership program. I will be rolling out a membership program, and it will be done via Patreon. And at this time, I do believe there will be, because of the times that the wonky times that we are in, I will be offering at least a couple of different levels, so that, you know, if you're interested, or if it's something that you can do, that you can maybe find a medium that you can find a place where you might be comfortable or be interested in. You can take a look at I will be rolling that program out very soon. And you'll have a chance to see if that's something that you're interested in. There will be new things coming to Black Spring with Autumn, and it'd be nice if you can take advantage of those things. So you'll see 3 links, and I'm also going to post the link for this. This is a dochouse.gov. So this comes, so I didn't pull this out of my I didn't quite pull this out of my hair. So go ahead and have a look at your leisure. So I'm going to be placing this HR bill, aka, you know, generically, maybe we just call it, it's some form of a stimulus bill. Hello, Rison Million. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. All right, so this is the bill. Appreciate it. Shout out to Rison Million. Monet Nacon. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to my playlist of the week people. These are actually what I'm going to do. There's going to be a rolling list of people that I will post in the stream throughout the week. So we'll have Chrysler Imperial H, Snapzilla Gorilla, and we will have also Nacon Shop. So you guys might want to check out some of these content creators, as well as there's a couple of others that will be added next week. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to be rolling out this program, and it's going to be hosted on Patreon. So if you're interested, you'll be able to see specifically what the perks are, what you get for your support or your loyalty, and there'll be different levels of membership if you're interested in that. And of course, you're valued here, so it's not a requirement. It's just that, and as in content creation, and as things develop, you know, sometimes it helps out to have extra resources, or helps with, you know, it's going to be a membership, but it's going to be, I think I'm going to try to keep it at a nominal level, so that you can find a place that works for you, or comfort level that fits for you. So let's dig around a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but hey, that's what happens. This is a massive bill. So I want to go back to 1103, in which we are talking about the expansion of use of minority banks and minority credit union. So I think I've heard some rumors of DOA. It's like every time, never let a good crisis go to waste, I guess, is, it's all about it, right? I mean, just for the people, right? Govern for. Are we experiencing being governed for on levels right now? It looks like we're being governed over, whether it be your state level or whether it's your municipal, whatever level it's on. It's not a governing for at this point. It's getting more at a point, at one point I always mentioned the more remote the power is, the accessibility is reduced. So we come from federal, then we go down to state, and then you go down to your local area, and you got your county seat. That's where your most of your power is. So I think that's why many people have suggested that some of the Americans, maybe take your, stack your chips, take your shot, and run for office, run for a public office. Maybe start with a school board. I mean, gosh knows that there's a lot of initiatives out there that are being snuck in, just like this. It's not just happening on a federal level. These movements and these special interests and all of these pork plans and projects and NGOs, they don't represent the people. So the only way you're going to know that is either you are attending your city council members, you are finding out what's being approved in your school curriculums, whether it's the county or the city or wherever you are. Knowledge is still power, but it looks like it's a one way. Some people only know one way, and whatever comes out of that TV screen is about it. But little do they know, tin hat wearing, maybe the other side, it's actually a two-way, but they're not using it. They're not using the resources to their own advantage. It's the concept of most people. They don't have a larger framework or a larger concept because they are just waiting for somebody to tell them, oh, this is the way this should be. They're comfortable with that, or you should feel this way about this. Not, well, how about you find out what a policy is? Or why don't you look into the policy? Or why don't you look into the history? Or why don't you look at both sides, and then take a position? Because these things are important. And power is gained by power being squashed or taken. And if you look around, at times that we feel we're operating a little bit under a little bit of a bondage in the name of security. The CDC. I'm not sure. It's like the hype of this whole thing, the hysteria. It should be. I would imagine it's on more fumes, but I guess not. So hang tight here. I'll get you right back to the bill. Thank you so much for coming in for this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I'm always appreciative of you guys spending any of your Saturday here with me. Thank you very much. So let's go back over to the bill right now. Okay, so this is probably one of the last sections I'm going to deal with. I think there's something in there for the census and a lot of things. We're dealing with the post office, and to me it's pretty obvious what's going on here. These campaigns for mail-in voting, the debate about the Census Bureau, what questions were going to appear on it. I mean, this wish list it's there's nothing. It comes pretty straight ahead. it's pretty predictable if you've been following it. If you came in on season 16, you're pretty behind. So you might need to do some self-education outside of what I'm doing here. So this is 1103. It's expansion of use of minority banks and minority credit unions. A minority bank deposit program. 1. Establishment. There's established a program to be known as the Minority Bank Deposit Program to expand the use of minority banks and minority credit unions. 2. Administration. Secretary of Treasury, acting through the Fiscal Service, shall, on application by a depository institution or credit union, certify whether such depository institution or credit union is a minority bank or a minority credit union. Maintain and publish a list of all depository institution and credit unions that have been certified pursuant to subparagraph A and subparagraph A. So here again, this is, you get your road map in here. You can dig around. But I'm just saying, this is stimulus. This is a stimulus bill. Because when I think about, it's like you go back to these World War II, these FDR kind of virtues, and Pelosi mentioned Rooseveltian proportions. I'm paraphrasing. Load your fact checking up and do what you need to do. Make yourself feel better if you're one of those. But this is an alphabet program, alphabet government programs, and at this time, if it's all about the pandemic, I would imagine that you would probably be focusing on some other things and not this little list of, as they call it, pet projects, a wish list, or my Office of Minority and Women Inclusion of a covered regulator shall develop, provided to the head of the covered regulator, and make publicly available best practices. Now, see, this is a government program. Okay, no matter what you think, if you can demonize or whatever, civil rights, those are still government granted rights. But human rights and natural rights are higher than those rights. And those are some of the principles of which this country was founded on. So those rights cannot be taken away from you. But these kinds of programs are what people get, are what people get into their heads, and they get dependent on this institution. And in many ways they defend it, whether they know it or not. So I'm going to keep going here. Oops. All right, I'm going to keep going here just a little bit longer. I'm just, even though I've gone through this a little bit, thought I might look at it. So there's a full of projects, okay? So we've got more projects. We've got, let's go to 752. 752. I would recommend people to go out and purchase a pocket, just for kicks, just for kicks. I think if liberty and any type of sovereignty is to survive, you need to probably pick up a copy of a constitution. I mean, just pick it up. I mean, you got time. Everybody's sitting around. I say increase your lot. So let's look at 752. All right, so this is Title 2, Census Matters, Section 70201, modification of the 2020 census deadline and tabulation of population. And you think, why is that important? And I think these are the questions that people should be asking. I mean, instead, you've got people shopping for Louis Vuitton mask. Go find you a Louis Vuitton mask. They're only $30. Do I want one? No. Somebody told me, somebody's selling Louis Vuitton mask. I said, good luck with that. No thanks. Now, who would have thought? I gotta applaud them for, I gotta applaud the kid for being an entrepreneur at a time like this, but it's also, yeah, he's just trying to make money. This kid's just trying to make some extra money. He's not, he's just trying to make some extra money. He's not, there's voluntary, people volunteer they volunteer their complicitness, or their obedience. They're voluntarily obedient, is what I've said in the past. So that kind of, it becomes expected. When people are have tyrannical leadership or tyrannical tendencies, sometimes you stun them with how voluntary and how complicit and how docile, you can be. So we'll keep going with that. So yes, let's just have a quick look at this one. The deadline modification, notwithstanding the timetables provided in the sections, the other sections. All right, an act to provide for the 15th and subsequent decennial census and to provide for an apportionment of representatives of Congress approved June 18th, 1929. Okay, so we're going to go into that. So looks like they're wanting to modify census deadlines and tabulation of population. Well, 1, the tabulation of total population by states required by Section 141A of such title for apportionment representatives in Congress among several states shall be completed and reported by the Secretary to the President within 13 months after the decennial census date of April 1, 2020, and shall be made public by the Secretary no later than the date on which it is reported to the President. 2, the President shall transmit to Congress a statement showing the whole number of persons or representatives to which each state would be entitled under an apportionment of the then existing number of representatives as required by such Section 22A and determined solely as described therein within 14 days after receipt. Okay, so you can dig into this a little bit, but what we're going to do is we're going to end up talking about, eventually we're going to get into what's significant, why is it important for population, or why is it important to know which states are most populous, or the most populous states. What's at stake? What's the end game? What is the end game with these projects in this bill? Okay, if you keep chucking along here, you see 754 talks about reporting requirements for 2020 census. So I will say right off, if you've taken the census, I think the question that kept, whether or not you were a U.S. citizen, I believe that was not, I'm pretty sure that was not on there. So what's the end game now? What addendums and what are we doing now with that? What's the end game? I'm not going to answer these questions on this show. This is, just, just get your, maybe get your own wheels turning or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, this is not mainstream media, and you're not going to find these kinds of topics or anybody asking any of these questions on mainstream media. Just FYI, just shouting out the people that I see: Monet Nacon, Reson Million. Oops, sorry. Just shouting you guys out. Thank you so much. Let's see. Take just a little. Come up for some air on this one. That bill is, yikes. Okay, so yeah, you've got lots of things here. That's page 754, section reporting requirements for the 2020 census. And so this just, I'm just going to put this out there. This triggers immigration. And of course, immigration affects population. And population affects the electorate. So hopefully, I'm going to have, somebody's going to come on, there's going to be somebody coming on to my show that's doing something that has a very important position or very important stake on, or knows exactly what's going on and what's at stake, So if you could just hang around for that. That was supposed to happen already, but I'm actually expecting that's going to come up on that interview. But it will be specific to his region when it comes up. So just for kicks, I'm not really going to go through all of this to figure out what exactly. There's funding and more adding more. Here we go. This is expansion. You're basically creating more government and more jobs and more and hiring staff, retaining staff for all these pet projects, and it's just pretty egregious, the kind of things that are being snuck into these bills. And I mean, spending on media, here you go, total spending to date on media, advertisements, partnership, specialist. I mean, we're literally being from within. We got the cancer within. It's just a lot of destruction, just on so many levels. But if you're informed, it's a better place to come from. I don't know, but most people, we have a lot of people that don't want to come from that place. They'd rather a celebrity tell them how to feel or what to think, or they just rather carry on that way. No matter what's at stake. It's pretty, the ignorance is just amazing. Okay, limitation of tabulation. Limitation on tabulation of certain data. Limitation. The Bureau of the Census may not compile or produce any data product or tabulation as part of, in combination with, or in connection with the 2020 decennial census of population, or any such census data produced pursuant to the 141C of the Title 13 U.S. Code that is based on, or based in whole or in part on, data that is collected in such census. So, like I said, I'm sure there's a lot behind that. But do you actually think this bill is going to pass? I mean, of course, what the word on the street, it passed in the House? Not surprised. Every now and then they'll spray a little something on with the pandemic on it throughout, but then it'll be sandwiched in between that. You have all this other goop. So yeah, but I've seen a couple of things about small businesses. I've just seen a very, very, very few things United States Postal Service borrowing authority. There's a big push for the post office. Save the post office. What's the end game there? So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to go. I'm going to take a break from this. I will put I think I put the link in the description box already for this bill. So you can take a look at that for yourself. Oops. Old school. I didn't know you were here. I'm just carrying. Yeah, I got my shovel out, I just pulled it out. So I hear you. Page 40. See, somebody's paying attention. If I had smiley faces, I would give one. I do have smiley faces. But let's go to another article here, shall we? We might round out the stream with this. So, just a bill, the song says, I'm just a bill. So we got another bill you might be familiar with. And this bill, this particular bill, okay, give me a second here, would be none other than Bill Gates. Now this article comes from Digital Trends. Looks like the FDA says no. The FDA has shut down Bill Gates-backed pandemic testing program. All right, so let's play a little bit of this. How about it? And then I'll read some of it. Well, actually, yes, I won't. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just... Whoops. Alright. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Okay, so I'm going to read... Okay, so this is the Food and Drug Administration halted, at least temporarily, a Seattle-based at-home pandemic testing program backed by a bill. Not just a bill, by Bill Gates. Alright, so I'm going to read here a bit. Hopefully you can see this on your own screen. This is just sharing the screen here. Okay, and so this is this quote, please discontinue patient, yikes, sorry about that. Quote, please discontinue patient testing and return of diagnostic results to patients until proper authorization is obtained, end quote. The FDA told the Seattle Pandemic Assessment Network in a memo, according to the New York Times. The quote, the FDA has not raised any concerns regarding the safety and accuracy of SCAN's test, but we have been asked to pause testing until we receive that additional authorization, end quote, according to an update on the SCAN website. They are currently only a couple of at-home pandemic tests with FDA authorization. SCAN, which involved a number of institutions, including the University of Washington Medicine, and backed by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, was sending free test kits to the participants. Go on and participate. All right. SCAN, which involved a number of institutions, including the University of Washington Medicine, and, well, we've got that. The goal was to test people both with and without symptoms to get a sense of how widespread this pandemic is in the Seattle area. The FDA requires any pandemic test to receive an emergency use of authorization, EUA, before being used. Gates announced the program on Tuesday, May 13th, and the FDA sent the memo asking SCAN to pause on Wednesday. So, just put put those syringes away for now. Hold on just one second. I'm going to scroll down here just a second. This is from digitaltrends.com. And so it's a little bit of frozen here, it seems. But so let me just go on and do a little shout out, see who else is still around. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out on this segment of Black Spring with. I'd like to shout out Old School Wolf. Old School Wolf has a wealth of knowledge on many things. I can never get a full grasp on, he knows a lot about a lot of things. So you might want to get over. In fact, I'm going to drop his link because he's a great content creator and he's quite loyal on Black Spring with Autumn channel. So you might want to go on over there and look around and see what you can see. And you'll probably be back. If you're not, you're looking at the wrong page. Okay, so I'm going to drop his link into the stream. So shout out to Old School Wolf and all you do. All right. Appreciate Old School Wolf Media. Appreciate Risan Million or have Monet Nacon. Appreciate you guys for being here. And so I have dropped Old School. I have dropped him into the link, into the stream, his link into the stream. So you can go over and check that out. But I want to continue with this. Okay, continue with the story on not just a Bill Gates. All right. Okay, so let's keep going here. I don't know if we have anything other than just marketing here remaining. So we'll find out what happened on the screeching halt, I guess. We'll follow that story. In fact, we'll keep an eye on that here on Black Spring. Just for kicks. Why else would we want to know what's going on with potential, testing kits? And that's all we're hearing is contact tracers, test kits. We need more. First it was ventilators. Now we need test. Now we need track. Trace. So we'll just keep an eye on that here. Okay. So I'm sure you can find other sources on this one, but actually I'll drop this one in the stream for you. Okay, I'll drop it in for you. Hope everybody's doing well on your Saturday. I'm going to drop this one. That comes from digitaltrends.com. Pretty digital, pretty necessary, huh? Okay, so we'll see that. We'll see what other developments come up. So yeah, so with that said, you know, I'm going to in the fine style of the way we opened, I want to close out this stream. If you have anything you'd like to contribute, I'm more than happy to have you contribute as we close.
Woo, you sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will, but today I am still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm gonna live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By
old.
that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill. He signed your bill. Now you're a law. Oh, yes.
All right. You guys give it a try. I mean, give old Bill a look whenever you get a chance. There's lots of bills out there that share the same fate or not. So you might want to go over and check out the bill. I think this bill is pretty unofficial right now. And actually, the HR 6666 is the other bill. We might take a look at that one. In the very near future, we might take a look at that one. But as always, I am so happy to have everyone here on Black Spring with Autumn. And I really hope that your weekend is going quite well. I really do. And also, keep taking a look at the community tab, because that's where you will find the Patreon information and what the membership is going to offer, and you'll find out about that program. The playlist program will remain intact, and that's a program based on, of course, how much you come into the streams. So of course you can earn watch hours when you're loyal, when you come on to the page pretty regularly. You just come in and check out, see what's going on. Not telling you how much time or anything, it'll be tracked. And yeah, hope you'll find something that you're interested in, and you'll be interested in at least continuing to come in and be a subscriber. And of course, you're always welcome to just be a subscriber, and for videos, interviews, panel discussions. But the other program will offer some other things, some other opportunities and loyalty perks for you. So as always, if anybody has anything else, I just want to read a couple comments. Shout out again to Old School Wolf Media. So Old School highlighted in his commentary on page 40 the $4 billion for the emergency broadband. If it passes, I will buy more spam and ammo. See what I mean? Can't beat Old School Wolf Media. Can't beat them. Shout out to Monet Nacon. Shout out to Reson Million. Million. And as always, I want to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And you may find me in a live stream, but on a different platform later today. That platform will probably be StreamYard. And at that time, I may it'll be a much more chill chat. We might have a couple of stories on that one. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Have a great rest of your Saturday.